I am Syura Muhiddin, a researcher from Center of Indigenous and Cultural Psychology, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. I'm presenting a paper during this session. The title of our research is Strength of Justice Reflects Social Well-being in Rural Community. So let's start with the gap. Studies on well-being has been growing and revealing multidimensional and dynamic of the concept. However, it is possible to assess well-being with its various indicators. Rooted from philosophy, well-being is an integrative construct of hedonic and eudaimonic philosophy. From the hedonic tradition, the assessment of subjective well-being has concentrated on evaluation of positive and negative affect, as well as satisfaction with life, and eudaimonic tradition has emphasized positive psychological functioning and human development. Therefore, well-being has mainly related to emotional and psychological well-being. For example, self-acceptance, which mainly emphasize individual side. In fact, a human is a social creature that has been never completely separated of each other, so it is important to consider the social variables. Well, some of the aspects contributing to human well-being are social aspects. For instance, the studies on social relation indicated that social interaction is a vital need for enhancing one's well-being. Case developed the concept of social well-being. He defined social well-being as the appraisal of one's circumstance and functioning in society, and he identified 5 dimensions: social acceptance, social contribution, social actualization, social coherence, and social integration. Case research in 2002 has led to the introduction of flourishing terms as scientific concept. His work has greatly influenced the formulation of Well-being Manifesto for a Flourishing Society proposed by Shah and Marx in 2004. They were talking about good life, which referred to flourishing society where citizens are happy, healthy, capable, and engaged. Thus, Shah and Marx described that well-being is not only about happiness, but also a functioning, which means developing self, being fulfilled, and making a contribution to the community. And furthermore, the concept of well-being in social context is recently extended. There is a term called community well-being, which was explained as systemic concept. Community well-being is more comprehensive, focusing on both quantitative and qualitative factors and using both objective and subjective approaches. It covers various domains such as economy, social, culture, environment, even politics. That is to say that concept of community well-being is not limited on the individual improvement and engagement, but also highlighting various aspects that make community happier. So it might be different in each community. Then it is important to notice that residents' participation in engagement may indicate the existing particular characters which have been internalized by people, and these kinds of character might trigger their social behavior. Talking about characters, especially positive character strengths, we would certainly refer to positive psychology. Positive psychology is a study of the conditions and process that contribute to the flourishing or optimal functioning of people, groups, and institutions. And this definition coincides with the term introduced by Case to define well-being. And there are big six virtues. Virtues are also term related to character strength. There are big six virtues noticed as core characteristics that are being defined through an evolutionary process. Wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. Each virtue completes character strengths that have some process or mechanism in defining the virtue. So one of the big six is justice, that is defined as broadly interpersonal process relevant to optimal interaction between the individuals and the group or the community. This virtue is built up from some civic strengths underlying healthy community life, namely citizenship, including social responsibility, loyalty, and teamwork, as well as character of fairness and leadership. A former research had shown that particular character strengths were strongly associated with life satisfaction, which is a contributed factor of well-being. And according to the research, leadership and citizenship were more connected with life satisfaction than finance. So this research goal is to understand the reflection of social well-being in rural society and to identify the strength of justice that can give impact on social well-being. This research was descriptive qualitative research involving 3 different subject categories: father or husband, mother or wife, and children, especially who were adolescents. The participants were selected by simple random sampling technique. There was a total of 211 participants from the 3 categories from coastal and mountain areas as seen from this table. This research was located in Bantaeng Regency, South Sulawesi Province, Indonesia, the 3rd smallest regency in South Sulawesi. And the region has mountain and less coastal area. Mostly villages are located offshore. This situation led to the importance of agricultural sector there. A research instrument was open-ended questionnaire constructed by Arlina Gunaria, MSc, and teams based on the comprehensive perspective of well-being, consisting of 5 sections, but only section 4, that's about the description of social and community life, was analyzed considering that it covered the scope of social life. We interview father and mother with the open-ended questionnaire as the guideline. Then adolescents or children directly fill out the questionnaire. And the data were analyzed by thematic analysis. So the section 4 of the questionnaire consists of 5 questions about respondents' perception of area of living, development of the community, people harmony, and then expectation toward the community life in the future and the neighborhood. And in addition to the closed open-ended question, there were 3 closed-ended questions in form of scales. One of the questions was about gratefulness. From the 3 charts, we can see that mostly villagers from 3 subject categories were very grateful of their living in the area. And regarding perception of people harmony, most of residents perceive their community was harmonious. However, there were also a few participants feeling more hostility compared to harmony. And we can see that children's response were more various, from very hostile to very harmonious, but most of them feeling very harmonious. And related to neighborhood, mostly people of each category perceived that they had very good relationship. Children's perception was more various, but mostly perceiving the neighbor relation is good. So from the open-ended question, researchers found 4 main themes. The first theme, the categories were related to what made local residents feel grateful and happy to stay there. Those are source of livelihood, good and supportive society, homeland, because they close to the family, comfortable situation. And the second theme is the social relation that was built up from some categories associated with their evaluation toward the relation within community. And we can see mutual help and sharing, maintenance of good relation, for example, gathering events, peace, rare conflicts, and family-like relationships. And the third theme, the development of the community was constructed from some categories, as we can see here. And the development of the society can reflect actually the community achievement in certain aspects and its efforts to reach community well-being. The fourth theme was about expectation, consisting of several categories related to what people expect toward the future, which also may reflect their ideals. There are 3 categories related to government role, the quality of social relation, and success and prosperity of the community. So from these teens, it can be found that strengths of justice that further may reflect social well-being and can be optimized to reach the community well-being. We further discuss about the result, especially from the perceived gratefulness, people harmony, and the quality of neighbor relationship. Those indicate that both villagers from coastal area and mountains area felt higher social well-being. The source of gratefulness explained before indicated some aspect, for example, social acceptance and social integration. Social acceptance refers to ability to accept others honestly and view others positively, as well as show kindness, so that people feel comfortable with others. And the factors such as closeness to family member, as well as kind and helpful people, were associated with social acceptance. Social integration, meanwhile, represents good relation to community and feeling as integrated part of society, and it is also defined as the capability to instill a sense of belonging, and reasons reveal that the area is their homeland and have been providing livelihood as well as the place is peaceful can be classified as social integration. And response concerning good social relation was also mainly related to good people, for example, supportive people, helpful people. This response reflected the factor of social well-being found in South African people, namely social value and belonging and social trust. And similarly, these reasons are a sign of the importance of togetherness, indicating collective society, which is characterized with collective value orientation. Regarding development of the community, the appraisal was based on materials and physical indicators as well, such as improvement of infrastructure or facilities. Those lead to how the people define social well-being objectively. It is also known from people's expectation about their future life. So these findings supported the idea that objective indicators were also be taken into account in social well-being measurement in the area. And the next, the social relation perceived source of gratefulness and the development of society could reflect the characters of justice, that is citizenship. Characters of the strength is how to work well as a member of a community, to be loyal to the community, and to do share responsibility. In this case, people give their response toward questions based on their experiences and perception. Thus, it can be inferred that their response reflected their daily life. In other words, strengths of citizenship has been existed in their daily life. In their daily life. Moreover, the character strengths were also still expected by people that can be seen from the response related to expectation toward good people and cohesive relation among them. Response given also refer to togetherness, solidarity, cohesiveness, which can also show the citizenship strength. And the rest of character strengths, fairness, and leadership were not significant findings in this research. Respondents didn't mention about them to describe feeling of gratitude and people harmony. However, some people's expectation can be related to the leadership, such as government would have society equally. Supposing that the expectations were not happening at the time, but being hoped in the future life, fairness and leadership might not become main character promoted by the local community. Otherwise, people need the character to exist in order to make their life more prosperous and successful. So, besides, there are some factors affecting social well-being from the response. First, togetherness, cohesiveness, and solidarity. The second is education development. The next, positive affection and higher aspiration and motivation. It can support the well-being of people in the area. Generally, we conclude the result of the research that several characteristics of rural community, for example, social relation, positive changes, as well as expectation, can indicate the strengths of justice. that further reflect the perceived and expected social well-being of the community. It is also important to build up the strength of justice law to achieve social well-being specifically and community well-being in general. Thank you for your attention. Terima kasih.